Hey, Jessica.
Yes.
Hey, this is Jennifer.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm okay. Um, I really apologize that I called you white trash or said that to April. You guys just don't, you have no idea what our family has been through. It is like we have lost a death in the family and I can't see her. So you guys just have no idea. And whenever I say, please stop, I get that y'all don't want them up there. The reason we moved is because I was having a nervous breakdown because of everything. And I didn't have to explain everything and everybody go through my TikToks or whatever. Like, that was uncalled for. Like, I would never have done that to you guys. Are you there?
Yep, I'm listening. Okay, well, first of all, if and I understand it's painful, I totally do. Um, because that's why there are family members, the Marsh family, part of my family. That's why if it's too hard for you to handle, don't be in the group. Because our one sole purpose is to stop them. Okay, I've lived in this town my entire life. I'm a distant cousin with them. I do know everything that's going on. I trust me, baby. When I say I know everything, I mean I do know everything. Okay.
So, what did they say about us while we left?
I'm sorry. Well, I can barely hear you. What was that?
I said, what did they say? Like, why do you think we left? If
Oh,
they, y'all made the statement that y'all ran and left, like,
oh well, from what I remember being told, because I never went to church there. It was never my kind of church. I mean, you know, I know Annie and all Robbie and everybody
so
went to.
you're kin to Brandy Marsh
Huh?
and Renee. You're kin to Brandy Marsh and Renee Marsh and Jeff Marsh, and are you kin to all them?
Um, honestly,
Jennifer Neely.
I can. I don't. I didn't follow the family tree completely. It's on my mom's side. We're like fourth cousins. I mean, it's not like I'm a second cousin. About the only ones that I really, really know and associate with are like Annie and Leah's. We all went to school together too because I did go to Warrior. So we all went to school together, that kind of thing. But I mean, other than knowing, I just call them Mama Marsh and Papa Marsh because I used to go to their house after school. Me and Liz would do our school projects together. So, I mean, but like as far as like getting back deep in the family, I can't tell you who we're kin to, and I don't really care to know, honestly. Um, but now, before my mom died, she could pop them off left and right. Oh, that's so and so, and you're fifth cousins with them. There's not many people in this town that I'm not kin to in one way or another. Either on my mom's side or on my dad's side, it's a hot mess. And honestly, I don't have a lot to do with most of any of them. I just so a lot of my family is shit, and I don't deal with them. It's just I leave them alone and I deal with myself. But here's my problem.
Well,
When
wait, can you tell me what was said and why you think we left them out?
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Well, you had asked how like being
Yeah,
kin, so I kind of like got off track. I get off track easy.
it's okay.
You have to reel me back in sometimes.
It's okay.
Um, so as far as I know, and this might just be hearsay, I don't know, but from some of the people that were going to the church, this was back when they were at the Cotton Gin, back when it was on
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Street back there.
Right.
It was my understanding like that the kids weren't in school, that they were supposed to be in homeschool, um, but at the time Alabama didn't have like a homeschooling umbrella situation, so you know the parts that I heard, and I don't go by a lot of everything that I heard because a lot of this come from the Bullock side of the family,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, I don't like them and I don't trust them, and I'm not close to their side. Um, you know when because I mean Robbie and Amber started dating when they were young.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Well,
I.
the reason that Amber even because it was for the money. That's the only way she saw money, and that was why. Like, Robin and them would talk about all the time of how the first of all, am I being recorded?
Oh no.
Okay. Um, they would talk all the time about how Amber and them they were married at Rockford Church of God. Like that's where we all went to church with them. We all knew. I was raised with them. So when we started going to church there, we had went to Bradford, and when Bradford fell apart, there was things that happened. Madison, the new pastor that was there at the church at the time, we were very good friends, and their son tried to break Madison. And
Now, I had heard something about that, but I didn't know if that was true, so I was not about to bring that up, you know.
It caused a huge thing, and that's why we left Bradford. Whenever John and Madison started dating, everything was good. We were all close. James and I started working in the church. My kids were homeschooled, and everything did get turned in. I don't know whatever that's about. Madison's senior year, she threw the books across the room and refused to do them. So, I'm the one that she got the back of the book and put all the answers in it. That is what she did, and then that was what was turned in.
Right.
And so, what am I supposed to do when she's 17 years old, almost 18, and doesn't want to do it? So, and I had attorneys, and I didn't want to be put in jail. So, I don't know what that thing is with that. But when we started going to church there, it felt everything was good. God was there. It was different, okay? And then we really started working in the church, really got involved, and then our eyes began to open about things. And when I tell you that we worked deep in the church, my husband was over the sound. He was over security. So he was there when he opened it and was there when he closed it, and everything that went on in between. And I could tell some things that would make your jaw drop.
You could probably fill in a lot of holes. I'm not going to sit here and say there's nothing that you're going to tell me that I don't know, because every day I learn stuff. I learn new stuff. And I will tell you.
So I will tell you this. There's a money thing. This is what they did when we were at the old church. They had a big money basket that they would put at the altar, and people would just come up during service or during preaching or whatever and just drop money in it, because it was supposed to go towards to pay the church off. And countless times, my husband and I saw them. We would all go out to eat afterwards. Everybody would hang out and wait, the ones that was in the circle. So it was usually Amber, Robbie, me, James, the Robins, Madison, Krista, and if Krista had her friend or if Austin was with them. There was a few stragglers, some that would come. But that was the main core. And I can't tell you on how many times when he would go in there, their offices at the old church were combined. The door was always open going in between the two offices. And the three kids would line up, and they would take that money out of that offering thing and divide it between them and give it to them.
Right.
I could tell you so much stuff.
Well, and I know, that's not the first time I've heard that, actually. Heard, gosh, I've heard many of stories of, like, when they would give Madison the money to go put in the bank, and a week later the bag would still be laying in her floor, half open, you can tell some of it's gone, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I didn't know any about that. I didn't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. So, when I say it, I'm not going to sit here and say, Boomy, stop. Sorry. When I'm not going to, hush, hang on 1 second, let me let him out. Dude, you are loud. There, go. Lock my door. Hang on a second. Oh, maybe I won't lock it. Sorry, I'm in my craft room, so I was trying to lock everybody out.
It's okay.
But, and that's what I'm saying was, like, every day I learn new stuff. Every single day.
Well, the reason when we left, when Madison and John, it was on Madison's 18th birthday. Well, I had Madison's phone. My phone had messed up, and so I had used her phone to text James during that, 3 days I didn't have it. And so I saw text messages of her and John. And she was 17, and I paid for her phone, so yeah, I went through it and read it. And she would tell things that were not true. And then it was John, they would talk in code almost, and it was like, what my dad said, when you turn 18. So I knew that it was coming, okay? So I had her 18th birthday party planned. surprise birthday party, and we were having it at the youth force. And I get a call, and we were in Hobby Lobby parking lot going to Starbucks, and Ava's in the back seat, and they call it. James meets me there, and James says John's about to ask Madison to marry him this afternoon. We knew nothing, so they had the cameras. Everybody was there, and they got to see the moment, but we didn't. So then, whenever she came to her surprise birthday party, it ended up becoming an engagement party that I knew nothing about.
Oh,
So I
wow.
was surprised. When I come in, when I looked up, there come the two Robins and Madison and John, and it felt like a knife went through my heart. And so she was mad. I had a hot chocolate bar set up. It was really because her birthday's in December. And so she went and I forgot to get the hot chocolate cups. And to keep from crying, I went over there and took them from her. And she said that this is girl Robin, that I took them partially. Boy Robin come and got James and said, you need to go have a talk with your wife, and you need to get her under control. We're not having this. Is not. He said, you go and try to tell my wife. She's Italian. You go tell her, try to handle her. And I told him, I said, I'm sorry. You want them to get married when they're 18 years old because you know why she told me? Jessica, they've dated for 5 years. I don't want her to get pregnant, and then it's not going to look good on the church.
Right.
That was the exact reason. I will put my hand to a Bible. I will put it on my mother and daddy's grave, on my children's grave.
Oh no, I've heard bits and pieces of that, but I've never knew. I knew they got married abruptly, and I always wondered when I first heard that, was she pregnant, maybe had lost a baby or something like that, because I heard
No, there was a big issue. She with the dress even. We went and picked the dress out and was paying on it, and then it was in September, and she was supposed to go for a fitting, and come to find out, the dressmaker, they sold us the dress that the dressmaker didn't design anymore. So they didn't tell us, and now September's coming around and our wedding is in December. So I'm struggling trying to get the money back on that, and I was waiting for them to reimburse my $600 that I had paid down on it, because I had paid the $600 on it first, and then I was going to pay the other $600 when we went and picked it up. And so we're trying to scramble, and so there was an issue with a check. Madison went the next day, and her and girl Robin went, and they found the wedding dress. And do you know how that hurt me? That felt like a knife went through my heart. Like, I can't begin to tell you the things that they've done. And so Madison came in, and she said, Mother, I found the dress. She's like, I have to put a $400 deposit down on it. Can you do that? And I said, I can, but I gave John the check, and I said, do not put it in your bank until after Thursday, because I can't, it won't cover. I'm waiting for the check for them to redeposit, because it was, whenever it's direct deposit like that, it takes 7 to 8 days or longer for the money to go back into your account when they reverse it.
Right.
So what did John do? John went and put the check in his bank. Well, it bounced. So we got threats then, and Boy Robin was like, you better pay this right now. It's like, we could have paid that. We went to church with them. Like, oh my God, that was so embarrassing. I would have never done that to them. So whenever he was like, James was going up there and giving him the money and paying for it and getting it taken care of, and we got threats. You better be at the bank at 12 o'clock tomorrow or else. And James got pissed and said, you know what, I'll give it to him on Monday. Now I ain't giving it to him now. So he made him wait. When we left that Monday, James had a conference down here in Gulf Shores. He had been in interviews. That's the other reason that we moved. He's got a director down here at one of the hospitals. But we had talked about moving from July. It was way before her wedding and everything happened. Madison always knew that we were planning on moving. Whenever that Monday when we left to go down here for the convention, me and the girls, and I have the receipt of it and everything. She sent me a picture of the copy of the check that was returned, and it had her account number and things that was on when she sent that. So I took that, went through her bank drive-through, and I deposited and got the receipt and everything, and they can look back on the video and see me do that. So, are you there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm listening.
So it was Tuesday or Wednesday when we were down here at the conference, and I just had this gut feeling, and I went and checked my balance. Well, there was $600 less than what there should have been in there, because somebody got one of my checks out of the back of the book and went and cashed it, and then went and got John's tuxedo with it for the wedding.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that happened. From that, when we decided that we were leaving the church, it was a big fiasco. We were friends with someone, and that person had left the church, and we were basically told that you either cut contact with them and don't have anything to do with them, or you can't be a part of our church.
Right, which is their MO, basically.
And if you leave, you're not under the covering of God anymore. So, last year, or last June, when I was diagnosed, they diagnosed me with cancer, when Cassidy, they let Madison know, their words back were, well, she left under the covering. So what happens, that's her own fault. So that's how they feel about things. Madison never, I can send you messages of the things that she has said to me that no child should ever say to their mother.
Okay, so, and I look, and I understand what you're going through, but, the whole thing was with the comment, well, you just need to leave them alone. And like I said, I'm friends, I'm distant family on the Marsh side. Liz is not in the group. I'm probably closer to Liz than I am anybody, because we graduated high school together. We went to school together from the time I moved up here to from fifth grade on. And we couldn't be separated. We were always together. We got in trouble at school together. We excelled together. Whatever it was, where she was, I was. Where I was, she was. It was just one of those things. So but it's not like, like I said, they're distant family. It wasn't like I called them every other day. Hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. I would see somebody at the grocery store. I'd see Mama Marsh at the grocery store because, Liz and them moved away. And I would see her at the store or something and, give her a hug. Hey, how are you? How are things? Blah, blah, blah. That's kind of the extent of keeping up with everything. Until I found out that she was sick. And
Robbie didn't even go see her.
I know, and I called Liz, and I'm like, what can I do? Is there anything I can do? And she was like, nobody can do anything at this point, just pray. And that's when she told me, she said, and I said, what about, I said, has Robbie brought the kids down there to see her? And she told me no. She said they won't let her see them at all. I'm going to tell you this, and I don't even know if you know this. Robbie did not even make it to the hospital until after his mama had slipped into a coma. He never got to tell her goodbye, and he's going to have to be the one to fucking live with that, okay?
Yeah.
The kids never saw him. Mama Marsh, I know, used to send the girls Christmas presents every year. We still to this day don't know if they ever got them. I figured they got thrown in the garbage, but that's their cross to bear. It's not mine. So, but
one day everybody's going to stand before God, and that's very sad. They've hurt so many families. They have tore so many families and destruction apart. I don't understand how they're still being blessed. Like, when you're sitting out here and you're trying to do everything right, and you're, how do they get so blessed? I'm going to tell you something.
Let me tell you something that my pastor told me years ago because I was struggling with it. I said, why? And I said, I know we're not supposed to question God. I said, but why are we here working 2 jobs, busting our ass to make ends meet, just to have food on the table and to get to church on Sundays? I said, why are we living this life when, Joe Blow over here is doing drugs and stealing people and living high on a hog and throwing money around left and right? And his answer to me was, the devil does not go after the people he already has.
You're right.
And that sat with me it has always sat with me, and it was probably one of the most things that I kept put away that my pastor gave me, so they're not blessed.
But did you know what he did to his mom?
Who, Robin?
Nan.
Who?
Nan is his mom.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very close to his sister Vanessa. Very close. We talk almost every day. Very close to her children still. She was in the hospital dying. They found cancer in her colon, and they took her entire colon out, but left a nut. She has a colostomy bag. So I had to get Cassidy to get in touch with Madison because Carla and Vanessa and all of them had tried to get in touch with Robin and them to let them know that his mother is dying and you need to come. And it took almost a week and a half, and whenever Cassidy messaged Madison and said, look, this is serious, you need to have Robin call Vanessa, her response was, it wasn't, oh my God, is Nan okay? It was, why are y'all talking to Vanessa? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That was the response.
I can see that.
And Madison is not who she used to be. Yes, she got in total the money, and they completely brainwashed her. We had to relearn everything that we were taught. When we walked away there and our eyes was open, I tried to take Madison, and it wouldn't happen. The night that when we were moving, we come back from that we came back from the conference, um, and it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks there. The first week of October, I always took a girls' trip down here with my girls for my birthday. And Madison said she wasn't coming. It was just Cassidy and Ava went. During that week, all hell broke loose. I came home and Madison had moved out. I had the clothes that was on my back, and I had the shoes that we shared clothes. She took everything. When I tell you everything, almost 300 pairs of shoes. She took it all. And James said, I don't want you coming home and going into her bedroom. It looks like an apartment that you had trashed. Garbage was everywhere. They went in there. Why they done it to her sister, I don't know. They went into Cassidy's room and cut up her Coach and Michael Kors purses. And, they don't get those purses. This is like a birthday purse or a Christmas purse. We don't just go out and say, oh, let's go spend $300 on a purse today. So those were important things, and why would you do that and be so mean? Whenever I went into the room and I saw that, I lost it. I grabbed the gun. I went crazy. I wasn't going to go kill anybody. I wanted to drag Madison home by the head of her hair, and I wanted to scare them. And I don't remember anything. I remember hearing screams coming from me and thinking, where are they coming from? And it was coming from me. And it was Cassidy and Ava wrestled the gun from my hand, and how it didn't go off, I don't know. It was God. But I remember being on the ground screaming and couldn't do it. It's like I remember being paralyzed feeling. And that is why we moved. Because if I have so much, I've got to deal with it and get it out of me, because God forbid if I end up losing this battle and dying, I don't want to have this hate and anger inside of me like I do. Because if I'd stayed, I would have killed her. If I saw Robin on the street, I would have ran over her. Her big-headed daughter, too. I hate them. When I tell you, I prayed every day that God doesn't let them have kids, because I know what's going to happen, and I didn't need you guys to tell me that. I think about that every day.
Well,
that's why I was asking that you guys just don't be so mean.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying.
Don't know situations.
Well, see, that's why I was telling you that, that's why I went back to about Leah's, not being a part of this group, because she can't handle it. She can't handle it, and I totally understand that. But the reason I created this group was, they're going down one way or the other. Okay? And let me
My husband is in talks. There's a man that used to go to church there, and he's big in the IRS and stuff. And he contacted James, and there's a lot of things that they know about that are coming up. I know that much.
Yeah. And we do have some, we have some to do with that. We report everything we can find. And let me tell you something. And
they're trying to make it a Kenneth Copeland compound. That's their whole
goal. Oh, yeah, yeah.
He worships Kenneth Copeland like
Copeland
is a god.
What we've done as a group, let me explain to you kind of some of the things what we've done, okay? As a group, what we've done, we have a list of every single property that they've bought in any county, Jefferson, Coleman, Blunt, Walker. We check them weekly. I have one person on our support, I call them my support team. We have one person on the support team, that's her sole job. That's what she does. She looks up the properties. She has a Excel spread list. We have every single property they own, how much they bought it for, when they bought it, who they bought it from, what their parcel number is, how big it is. I mean, it's extensive, okay? We have plenty of people that used to go to church there that have come to us and said, that's why I have the anonymous feature in the group, because so many people want to say stuff, but they're scared to, because they're scared of the retaliation that they do, and I totally understand that.
So last time I commented, if anything, it was under Amy's post, and I commented, and I sent Madison a message and told her the diagnosis and was telling her, and she was actually going to talk to me. And then I commented something under Amy's post because she said something about, I think it was after she'd done the interview on 13 or something like that. And I commented the things that I saw, what I told you about I said, yes, there was a whole bunch of things that went sideways in that church that we could see. And Madison saw it, and she got offense to it, and oh my, that's the only thing she saw. Jeremy Allred, little half-breed.
Don't even get me started on them two, okay? Because, oh Lord
that's
Jesus.
That's why we didn't go to the wedding. We were told that we weren't allowed. Actually, we were called 2 days before the wedding and said that we had to basically bow down and apologize to them for leaving the church and for going against their anointing. And James said, I won't bow to no man. And he said, I've got pride, and I've got 2 other daughters out there that are looking up to me at how I'm handling the situation. And that is why we left.
Right.
And I cried all day on the day of her wedding. I knew what was happening. My sister, I don't have anything to do with my sister or my brother. My brother walked her down the aisle, and my sister stood in as the mother of the bride, and knowing they were right there and knew everything that they had been through and what we had been through, and they still stood there. So I have nothing to do with them. I lost everybody when I left.
Right. And that's the common MO with them. It's their, and that's what, their common MO is like if let's just say if me and my husband started going to church there and I fell in love with it, my husband was like, no, this is some BS, and left. Next thing you know, I would be divorced because they would fill my head with all the reasons why, and that has happened so many times. There's more divorce rate in that church than there is. Most churches work on, therapy and keeping families together. That's not their story. They only want the ones that they can brainwash and that they can keep under their thumb, which is another reason we started the group. But now let me tell you this. When they first started having church there at the old Piggly Wiggly, when they redone that building, they had thousands of people in there. They would have, on Sunday nights, the roads on the city roads would be full of cars because there were so many people going there. Now, the parking lot's full, but if you watch the live stream, there's they make everybody sit in the front and the middle so that when they're videoing it looks like it's a full church. They might have 150, 200 people that are attending now, and I know that for a fact because the officer that works in there we're in good with, and he tells us things. So their in church has dropped tremendously. Their online presence went from being 20, 30,000 viewers to 2,000, 3,000 viewers. They're losing money day and night. That's why they're so pissed off at us. I give everybody in that family a nickname, because I know it gets to them. Krista's Buttercup. And, and I'm just waiting on the time when I can throw out the fact that,
she's a lesbian.
That's what I was just going to tell you. I said, I'm holding on to that secret. So when it comes...
No, let me tell you this.
And I feel bad because Austin's always loved her, and I feel bad for him, but,
Her and Sarah had a lesbian relationship. Cassidy and Madison was on vacation when they all went to TC together, and so their room was a double room. So Cassidy and Madison shared a bed, and Krista and Sarah shared a bed. Well, their butts was naked as a jaybird in that bed, and they were like, hope y'all don't mind, we sleep naked, and then curled up together in a twin bed, or a full-size bed. Yeah. And then the next year, Sarah didn't come with them, and Madison said there was huge fiasco, whatever that word is, because her and John had to take Peyton, Morgan, and Maddie to walk down, and they went and got something to eat while Amber, Robbie, and the Robins had a talk with Krista in the room, and they were, you need to tell us now if you're a lesbian. I need to know if you're a lesbian now. You need to tell us so that we can pray and get this out of you. Like, it was a big thing.
And I don't know if you've ever, but like his protocol when he starts preaching about lesbians and gays and stuff like that, his MO for them are, you are deep down inside, you are evangelist. You have the ability to be world renowned evangelist. You just got to get that out of your system. But Sarah's not the one that I was so familiar with. My stories more lean towards Katie.
Oh yeah. I always wondered that.
Oh yeah, and I have friends that they were actually, it was when they were in school, or was it might be right after school? I don't remember how long ago it was. I'd have to ask again. But they were at a party, and everybody was drinking and that kind of stuff. And one of the guys went through the woods to go relieve himself, and saw her and Katie. They were, now this is not weird. They had their pants down, and they were squatted down, and they were peeing and holding hands while they were doing that. He was like, am I interrupting something? You know, and I know this guy very well because he goes to karaoke with us all the time and stuff like that, you know, and his word's gold, so I know that works. So I'm just waiting on the day that I can throw the fact out there that I know she's a lesbian and that they're just using Austin to make her look presentable.
Oh, they made her marry Austin.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I tell you, that was pushed from the day that he met Austin. Like, we had tent revival, and he came in. And he had his eyes set on Krista, and that was it. And the Robin took him under his wing, and like, Kim, his mother and stuff, we talked. And she said that she doesn't want what happened to us to happen to her. So they keep the peace and just don't say anything so that there can be peace and she can have a relationship with Austin.
Right.
And I said, that's a good lesson I wish I had learned. But when we walked away from the church, then that sealed that Madison had done. I know that she's so brainwashed now that it would take years to get her in because they're such a control over her.
Yeah. Now, I don't know Austin personally, but I've heard and I don't know which it is, but I've heard that he is like either special needs or on drugs or something.
He was on drugs for long, and it messed him up.
Okay. You know, and those are the kind of things we don't put that kind of stuff in the group because let me tell you, my group, we run on facts, all right? And if I tell you that the Robins went out and crucified 55 people in their parking lot, you better believe it really happened. We don't do, you know, he said, she said, oh, I think, or so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that. You better have the resources to back it up. Because
wait, do they go to the? I don't mean to cut you off, but do they go to like the grocery store and stuff like that? Or
hang on a second, my husband's trying to come in. Let me unlock my door. Oh, damn.
Well, Cassidy told me that Madison said that they have to have security to go with them to the store and stuff. And like, I'm thinking you're not that big.
Oh, shit. Hang on 1 second. My husband's banging on the door and now he's got stuck. And I'm locked in my room.
Oh.
Well, mother sucker.
This will slide your food under the door.
Slide my food under the door? You're the one that was banging on the damn door like an idiot. I seriously can't get it unlocked, dude. Oh, wait. Oh, you need to put some WD-40 on that lock. And hush, because I'm in the middle of a conversation. As far as we know, they, talking to Madison's mom, the one that's married to John.
Oh, I just came in to see how Lois was doing or what the deal was.
Excuse me, just 1 minute. Sorry, Jessica.
It's okay.
We don't know. She's away. Lois called, or Lexi called and talked to her. She's at UAD. Lexi wants us to go there. Yeah. Lexi doesn't want us to go down there. Lexi can't go because she's got work in the morning, so. I told her I'd talk to you when I got off the phone and see.
Well, I was actually fixing to go to bed.
Well, I was going to come in there, wake you up, and talk to you when I got done with what I'm doing.
Alright.
So, you want me to wake you up and let's go, or what?
No, you can just go.
I'm not going to Birmingham by myself. I got my new concealed carry purse. But I can't take you in the damn hospital.
On what, you think I'm going to carry mine in my new concealed carry underwear?
Get out. I'll come in there and talk to you when I'm done with this. Well, see, here's the thing. We very rarely have we seen them around town. They don't eat in town. They don't shop in town. There's been once or twice people have seen them in Piggly Wiggly, and they do have a security guard that walks around with him. Just some Joe Blow guy that, you know, kind of walks 2 feet behind him. And anytime he's in town, he carries his staff. But most of the time, they don't do anything here in town. Like, okay, for instance, most of the time on Sunday, when church is over, the one place that is totally packed in this town is the White House Cafe. You know, I mean, that's where everybody goes. You know, and they don't go there. They go to a restaurant down in Gardendale, and I know this because I know the waitress that waits on them when they come down there. So they go out.
We all used to go to Superior Grill, but it closed, and so I don't know where they go now.
I'll have to message her and ask her what the name of the place is again. It's just a little like meat and three kind of place. I don't remember what the name of it is, but you know, she messaged, and that's the big thing. This is where we get most of our. This is where we get a lot of our information. Is what I don't already know just from, you know, being friends with, you know, Liz and stuff. People will message me and be like, "Hey, used to go to church there. You know, I know you know Float. You know, spoke to him a lot about everything that went on."
Yeah, Float was the one that they told us that we couldn't be friends with anymore.
Right. You know, and I know that y'all are friends. You know, and I love him to death. He is a hoot. I love him to death. You know, you know, I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of him. But we get people all the time messaging us saying, "Hey, this happened. Hey, that happened. Hey, I don't know if you know this." And here's the thing: when you live in a small town, if somebody starts a story and it's not true,
it's gonna go 100 times.
It's gonna go 100 times, and by the time it gets to the end, there's gonna be,
a bunch of
you know, 50,000 different versions of one story. And that's the one thing about their stories, it's always consistent. You know, like one little detail may change, like they may have said something different to a person, but for the most part, all the details are the same. They basically treat everybody the same when they don't like them.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that's when you know there's some truth to it. You know.
Whenever we backed away and he realized they were doing everything they could to keep us in the fold, and you know, it just. But then we found out like his mom and everybody left the church. I know there was a big fast. His mom and Girl Robin got into it, and then Girl Robin faked a passed out spell to get the ambulance there to make her leave her alone.
That was so fake. I heard about that.
Yeah. Vanessa told me everything. Rochelle had to break it up.
Well, yeah, I don't know to this day. I don't know what they got into it about, but I know they got into it.
Because
and
Ben and Brittany was the youth pastors.
I'm sorry, because what?
Ben and Brittany was the youth pastors at the time.
Uh-huh.
And that's, you know, Boy Robin's nephew, Vanessa's son. And Brittany was pregnant, and John had called a staff meeting, and Brittany didn't come because she was throwing up sick. And he made because he thinks he's a big boy, and he put his big boy pants on and made a comment, and it pissed Ben off, and it hurt Brittany. And so, whatever it was, it caused a big uproar, and they just decided to leave. Nan went and had a talk with Girl Robin, and Boy Robin wasn't there. He was some kind of convention or something, and she confronted her, and he was big. And then I don't know what happened while the whole prayer team left, but I know the whole prayer team left. Vanessa won't tell me, but that's fine. I know there was a lot of stuff. Her and Connie was Girl Robin's armor bearer, and then she threw her away like trash. She hurt Connie so bad, and there's a lot of things. They've hurt so many families. And his own mom, when he finally went and saw her, and when he saw that she wasn't going to die, now they have all those properties and do all that, and she lived Vanessa said, Jessica, you could touch one of her walls and push it and it would have fell through. Like, outside wall. And there was holes all in it. She had no heat in there. You know how she kept warm? And his brother lives there. His other brother, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Danny's gay. But he's sweet as he can be.
Okay, now, and didn't they take the prayer team away from Roxanne's mom?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
From Donna Jean.
Okay, yeah.
It was a lot of hurt. And Donna Jean said that she didn't want what happened to me and Madison to happen to her and Roxanne. So she said, we don't talk about Church International. We don't do anything because Donna Jean wants that baby. So, you know, so they keep it separate. And she said it's very hard, she said, because when she's up there with that Christmas Carol person or whoever that is praying over my grandkid, she said, I just want to rebuke whatever spirit is that she's putting on him. But his mom, Nan, so her house was to keep warm. She was afraid to cut the heaters on. she would take a blow dryer and put at her feet with a blanket on top of her, and that's how she would keep warm. Or she would go out into her car when it was 10 degrees outside and sit in the car for the heat to keep warm. And he was about living over there in high class heaven.
Right.
So they can. I don't know how it came about, but he said he'd fix her house for her. So they had new walls put in, like the siding put in, a porch put on, a roof put on, had things painted. Well, there was still that one back door that was back there. And Vanessa said that she walked back there and she saw the contractor and she said, I was all going to replace that door because it was falling in and it just looked, all this new pretty stuff and you got that ugly door in that back. And he said, well, he didn't tell me that. He said, let me call him because Vanessa asked, they said no. So Vanessa and Carla went and split it and they went and bought that door and that man put it on. That's how of a scumbag he is.
Oh, yeah.
And then drove on to see. Now he hadn't saw after the big thing. Like he'll come and talk. Girl Robin, the kids, they don't go see Nan. She's cried because she wants to see those grandbabies and they don't bring them. Whenever he'd fix Nan's house up and stuff, and then he'd come by and he said he showed her his new car that he got, the dream car that he'd always wanted. He had to come show her that.
Oh, the Mustang.
And then, yeah. And then, like, our birthday or Mother's Day, he'll come and drop a present in, like, a Louis Vuitton purse. Like, she don't give a flying F about a flipping Louis Vuitton purse.
Right.
That's not what she wants. She don't give a about that. Yeah. Like, he did her, like, she was laying there dying, thinking that she was going to die, and she was begging for him to come see her, and it was 8 days before his butt got there because nobody could get it, he wouldn't answer his text or get in contact. Then they come off the plane, and they were sitting in the waiting room, and girl of them was sitting over there with their nose stuck in the air so high that you could have. Vanessa said, I just sat there and was just as nice and calm as I could be, Jessica. She said, because all I thought about was my mama in there, and I didn't want anything bad spirits to come on her if I was to say something.
Right.
And she said that Boy Robin went in there and they saw each other, and that he, after it was over, he came over there and he hugged Vanessa, or he kind of patted her on the back, and Vanessa said it broke her heart because that was her brother, that she was with that ministry for 32 years, and to all of a sudden be cut off and not have any friends. She's like, it was hard. Like, she almost quit ministry. It was not good.
Yeah. And like I said, it's the same story, whether it's with their family or, with the members of the family that married into it, just like Robbie, all his family's cut off from him. Your daughter, y'all were cut off from her, and Krista, but her and Austin are married, but, his mom kind of keeps it cordial. I know that. She hasn't really talked to me a lot, it's just like been little pieces here and there, but, not really giving me anything to go on. But we've got folders and folders and folders of people's documents and their statements and the things they tell us that go on. And everything that we get, we turn over to the FBI, we turn over to the IRS. There's already been, gosh, I can't think of her name. There's already been one big investigation. The lady that was playing the harp, she just left there not too long ago.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
What happened?
Yeah.
I wondered why she left.
Okay, so Dina, that's her name. I couldn't think of her name to save my life. Well, her sister was sick, and she was traveling back and forth to go see her sister and all that, and she was terminal, and so the Robins were giving her money, and stuff like that, to travel to go see her, and all that kind of stuff. Well, Dina did not file that money on her income tax when she filed, and CI filed it as a write-off that they made that donation to her. So
how big was the donation?
That she wouldn't tell me, so I don't know.
Like, it had to be big for it to be filed. Like, it has to be like over 10,000.
Yeah, right? I don't, and that she never would tell me, and I was like, well, they're not going to come after you for $200. So, but this was like over a period of a few months, I believe. So, when the Robins filed their taxes, they filed it as a write-off, and she didn't, and it was she got red flagged for it. And they came out to the church and they talked to everybody. They talked to Robbie. They talked to the janitors. They talked to a lot of people at the church because the money wasn't making sense.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, the money's never going to make sense.
Right.
when you have Kristen get up there and preach for an hour
Oh,
on
good God, I know.
like an hour. Like we were there when the services was going 4 and 5 hours at a time. Like we would get out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we would have a whole hour of give our tithes and offering and why you should do it and give the story, and then it would be an hour, 2 hours of him singing, of him playing his guitar and showing off. Like
Yeah.
at that time I didn't see it that way, but when I look back and see things now,
Yeah.
there was God. God was there at a time, but money become more powerful than God. And when you buy a house, I took it down off of Facebook, but because I felt bad for Nan, his mom, because I made a statement on Facebook and said something like, when you buy a house on the hill to sit down and look over your kingdom, and your mama is sitting there living in a shack, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Absolutely.
Like, it was more to it.
Absolutely.
Like, I was pissed off.
And okay, you know how Chris and them got their house, right?
I know somebody gave it to Austin or something like that.
So this couple, it's an older couple. They sold some of their stuff, and they were from Washington. They sold a bunch of stuff. They moved down here, bought the house out in Cleveland. Very nice, beautiful house. When we get off the phone, my sister had a car wreck earlier, so I might have to go to the hospital. But
Okay, I'm sorry.
she'll be okay. She's talking. I called her. I talked to her. She's not, so as long as she could talk to me, I know she's cool. But so they came down. They bought the house. They started going to the church, and I can't remember what they said they were going to use that church for when they weren't here. They were just going to come here during the winter, and then go back to Washington in the summer, just kind of bounce back and forth. And they're going to, I don't remember what they said they were using that house for. Dadgummit. No, I can't remember. They were going to use that house for something, like when people from out of town are here. Not like a bed and breakfast, but that's the best word I can think of right now.
Yeah.
So Austin was, working with them, helping them keep the house up, and, anything they needed done around the house, he was doing that and all that kind of stuff. Well, they'd only been down here about 2 weeks, and the husband dropped dead of a heart attack on the front porch.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So she decided she was going to go back home. So she went back home and then come back down, and they gifted, a $360,000 or $460,000. I don't remember if it was $360 or $460. It was one of the two. It was either $360,000 or $460,000 house. They gifted them that house for $10.
Oh, wow.
We have a copy of the paperwork, because it's just one of the things that one of our girls does, and that's how they got that house. And the lady just moved back to Washington. So.
Well, it concerns me the amount of people that's coming down from out of state. Are they still doing that, or is that
Oh, yeah.
down now?
Oh, no. They want you to come down from out of state, but they only want you here if you've got money. You got to be the right.
What I heard was that they were, and this is how Cassidy explained it to me, and I guess Madison had told her, I'm not 100%, but this is what was told, that the people come down, the older people or whatever, they buy a house, but they put it in, they're wanting them so that it's in the church's name, basically, so that whenever they die, it donates to the church.
Yes, that's partially true. From the way we understand it, with the research that we've done on it, is they tell people to sell their homes wherever they are, move here. The church will help them get a home here, and they will, they won't. Since the church is going to buy them a home, they're supposed to donate the money from the sale of their home to the church. Okay. And now we've been told this several times, but we have no physical proof of it yet. But we just.
Oh, you mean sell their house and take that equity from that and give it to the church, and then they're going to buy them a house?
Yes, and they will give them a basically an allowance to live on while they're here. The only thing that we can think of is they're putting the homes in because when people move here, the houses are in these people's names. We've checked that already. So the only thing that we can think of is if something happens and these people die, that the Robins may have it set up as a quick claim, so that when they die, it'll go straight to the church. Exactly, and they won't have to do like a probate or any of that.
And we did know this, that, if you look on all the documents, it's her name on there, not his name. So when everything goes down, she's going over the church. She's the one that signed. She's going to go down for it, and he's going to be scot free.
And that's what I try. We try to tell Robbie. We're like, you're going to be the one that's going to take fault for this. So they're not going to go down. They're going to be, you're the accountant. You're going to be the one that they're going to say you were cooking the books or something like that. And, but you just can't make people believe, they don't see the harm that they're doing.
I don't see how people can't look back and see the families that they've hurt.
Right.
And, I wish that we all could get together and have a thing where we all go up on stage and talk about every single thing that they've done and how they hurt the families, and that this is what these people are doing.
Well, we are currently, and this is not like, oh my God, don't tell anybody. So we are working on putting together not a petition, shit.
Like a protest.
Yes, thank you. I took my medicine tonight. Can you tell? I'm losing all my words. It's getting my bedtime. Yes, we're working with Alabama Woodsman and Drew Bloom. They're coming back down. We're working on doing a protest with them when they get here. We've got some other things in the works with Alabama Woodsman. We're going to do some online interviews with him. Me and a few of the other people. Me and my admin, April. We're going to do an interview with him. We've got a couple of other people that are from the church that want to do interviews with him, and we just may have to do those in segments, So there's a lot of things coming down the line, and I take one for the team, and I listen to every single damn broadcast that they do. Lost 4 hours of my life yesterday that I'll never get back, but I do it while I'm working on my t-shirts and stuff like that, And then if I hear something, I'll jot down what time it was. I'll go back. I'll screen record it. Put it in the group, and you can go back at any time and check. There's lots of screen recordings in there for, all the stuff they said. And, and they've even asked, Robin even asked people at one time if they didn't have money to give, they could just give jewelry. That, she gave jewelry one time, and she got blessed and got, 10 times better jewelry back than what she gave, and blah, blah, blah. And, and every story that Robin tells is wrong. There's always something that's wrong. Like she talked about her family owning a peach orchard and working the peach orchard, and so it's hard work and blah blah this and that. They didn't own shit. They leased the land from the people that actually own the peach orchards, but they didn't do that.
She used to tell my, the Hallmarks that they were friends with her dad and him, and they'd done coal together, and that Mr. Hallmark, and actually, okay. Mr. Hallmark's grandson, Glenn, was married to Amy, my best friend that lives with me. And so, I know all this for a fact. So, Carl Robin said that her dad and him were in business, and that Mr. Hallmark schemed her daddy out and lost the coal mining, and then the Hallmark got all the money for it, and her dad didn't get anything, and that should have been there. So they would pray, and they would stretch their hands towards the Hallmark property and pray blessings that come back on them that was stolen from them.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but let me ask you a question. And I meant to ask Liz the other day. I talked to her on their anniversary of Mama's death, and but I meant to ask her this, and damn it, I forgot all about it. Danny, the brother.
Mm-hmm.
What is his last name? Is it White by any chance?
Maybe. I'm not for sure. I don't know. I've just always called her Nan. Like, I always thought it was Nan Bullock. Like, I never thought about and Danny's last name. So my sister worked with Danny. I knew he was gay.
Do you have any idea how old he is?
Yeah, he's like, maybe, he might be pushing 40.
Maybe 45?
Maybe. I don't know.
Because...
I just know.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He worked with my sister when my sister worked at Walmart, and they were the eye center together,
Uh-huh.
and they were like really good friends. And so he told them about the Robins, and so Cheryl knew about all of that before she started coming and before I got her to come to church there. And yeah,
Well, the only reason I ask is I know he's not, nobody ever really brings him up, like when they talk about the church or the family or anything like that. And the reason I'm asking is because, like, I went to Warrior, me and Liz went to Warrior, we graduated together, and there was a boy named Danny White that graduated with us. And he was, like, at the time, he was like a little bitty short boy, wore really thick glasses, definitely could tell he was gay, kept to himself, never talked to anybody. And I remember somebody here not too long ago saying Danny, and I thought they said Danny White, and I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if that's the same little boy we went to school with.
I have no idea.
I bet it's the same one. I'll have to ask Liz. Liz will know, because he was in our class, so she'll probably know.
Well, Danny lived, from what I understand, there was a trailer in front of Nan's house that Danny had put out there, but then Nan never moved into it, and it just sat there and got condemned, I guess. I don't know. But Danny works at, like, a movie theater or something like that. Like, he's always just been a homebody, and he goes and does these, like, Star Wars convention things.
I bet that's the same guy. It totally sounds like him, even from school. Well, that's why I was asking if you know how old he was, because I'm 45. And, and I know he was in the same class as me and Leah, so I figure he's anywhere between 44 and 46 if it's the same one. But it really sounds like him. And the reason I asked that is because when I was like 16, 17, it's back when Youth Forest is where the bookstore is now. I went to Youth Forest 3 or 4 times, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I was like, it's just strange ass people. That's, my mom, I come home one night, and my mom's like, how do you like it? I was like, they're kind of strange. But, I couldn't really go anywhere else, so it was a way to get out of the house, so I could always go and, talk to my friends down there. But Danny was always there. So, and then as all this started coming around, I thought, I bet he is. I bet, it all kind of made sense then. So.
Yeah. Nobody ever talks about it. Like Vanessa Evernell will say something about Danny. Now, when Nan came out of the hospital and she was having to go back and forth to doctor visits, it was Float. It was Float that helped her get into the house after him and Danny got her into the house. It was Float that picked her up from the hospital, not Roy Robin, not any of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Float's a good guy. I like him.
About anybody. So I certainly didn't think Madison would be concerned about me when I told her what was going on. And you just...
I mean, and that's one thing when you said it, nobody would have probably even said anything about your post, except when you said just leave them alone. Everybody's like, oh hell no, we ain't leaving no damn body alone. That's kind of when it went.
I know.
And because I'm gonna tell you, most all of them have been in our group at one time. The All Reds have been there. I've already had to boot them. Mason has sent me so many messages, private messages, asking, hey, let me in. Come on, let me in. I'm like, hell no, I ain't letting your ass in. I said, you just want to see what's going on and run back and tell them. I'm like, there's enough CI members in here as it is. I said, they know what's going on. They can report back to the master.
Oh, yeah.
And I know there are because, I went back and I've scoped everybody's pages out and I see who's who, and like Dallas Eubanks, the keyboard player, he's tried to get in a couple of times, and all that kind of stuff. So we know who all is connected. We keep a very good firm eye on that. Just about any time anything is sold anywhere around Warrior, Blount County, that kind of stuff, we're kind of on it. We're looking to see who sold it, who they sold it to, that kind of stuff.
Well, can I just explain on my thing? My meaning of that was, when you find out that there's death threats on your child, and it's because I get it completely, understand it, I agree with you guys, I know, that's why I had to remove myself from being up there in Warrior. I didn't want to be in it. And, sorry, I just don't want anything to happen to her. I don't care about them. They could all burn. They would all be burned to death, and I wouldn't piss on them. I don't care about them. The only person I care about is my child, and I don't want nothing to happen to her. That's all. And that was the only reason that I said that. It had nothing to do. Like, I don't care about them. I don't care about them. Like, they could all die in a plane crash, and I would laugh and not care.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. Because we're dealing with the same thing with Robbie. The family loves him. They would love to be able to have a relationship with him. Liz misses her brother. Albert misses his brother. And they would give anything to have him. Annie. They would give anything to have him back in their lives. But right now, it's not going to happen. And
Annie told me that whenever she left, they went to Robbie's house and that the kids wanted to tell, the cousins bye, and that they stood at the door, knocking on the door, and Amber said, "Don't let them in." And Robbie stood there and told her to leave, with her baby standing there wanting to tell their cousins bye.
Right.
And Annie had to leave.
I mean,
They're cold-hearted. They don't care about anything else. All they can. Madison was in a wreck, and I didn't know about it until nobody told me. It was a bad wreck. It's been on a couple because John evidently don't know how to drive. One of the last ones, it like messed her. Like the whole side of her face was like bruised, and she was like broke her nose, and like I didn't know any of that. Nobody let us know any of that stuff.
yeah. Message of my daughter.
Like, God forbid if something was to happen to Madison, I don't know if they would tell us.
Yep.
She would be buried before I would even know it. I would go crazy.
Yeah, honestly.
I would go kill them all.
I
would go kill every single one of them. And I would kill, and when I tell you every one of them, that's how I hate them. You just don't, I've got to get this out of me. Like, God's got to do something because.
I mean, and I understand that. And the sad part about what you just said is, God forbid it, because I don't wish anything bad on your daughter. But if something did happen, if, she did lose her life, you would probably see it in the group, before you found out in any other way. And I mean, that's a hard fact, and Robbie's the same way. The family was like, well, at least if anything happens to him, we'll, because, I don't know, it's crazy. It's so crazy. So.
Well, we're about to move to Texas.
Texas?
So.
Oh, your daughter's in college in Texas, isn't she?
No, my daughter decided Ava graduated, and she's been dating this boy. His family was a big thing. His dad worked at the airport down here, and he got fired for sexual harassment to somebody. So their whole family up and decided, let me move back to Texas. So, and they're Mexican. Okay. I mean, you get Mexicans, but, they all live together. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Everybody lives in one house.
Yeah. So, Devin didn't go at first because Ava was graduating and he wanted to stay and, like, be with her or whatever. So, he got in trouble, got some speeding tickets by the state troop. He has a Charger, and he was going, like, 101 miles an hour on the 181, and this is, like 280, if you would, something like that. So, he missed his court date and got a warrant against him, and so his family left, and he stayed here for 3 weeks. Well, in that 3 weeks, he talked Ava into going with him. And Ava was not, she turned 19. What could I couldn't, I was begging her not to go. So, it was a fight. I showed my ass. It was not good. I told him that, oh my God. I told him that if he ever hurt her in any way or done anything to hurt her, that I would kill him and not think a thing about it and stand and laugh at his family while I'm in jail, while I'm in court. Like, I don't care. And it was a big thing. Like, it was huge. Everything's good now, but she's my heart.
Look, I have a 20-year-old daughter. I totally understand, okay? And she just went through a breakup this past week for her boyfriend over 2 years. So we're doing the whole, trying to get out,
So this is what I said. Ava's always wanted to be in Texas. Like, all my family is in Texas, and so I'm okay that she was there because she's close to my family. But she's 12 hours away from me now. And so it's just, we begged them, wait and get an apartment first and then let her go. I don't want her moving into y'all's family. Like, I just don't want that. But it ended up, that's what happened.
Right.
And so, like, I want to keep that relationship with her, and I don't want things to end up like it did with Madison, so I have to bite my tongue and just let it be. But I told James, I said, I can't take this. Like, we are empty nesters, and I wasn't expecting this. And it's been we have a 4-bedroom house that I'm tired of cleaning.
Right.
So I told James I wanted to put it for sale. I want to, we are going to buy a fifth wheel, like one of these big fifth wheel RVs. And he traded in his BMW for a Dodge Ram. he's getting the hitch put on the back of it. And so we decided that we're selling the house and we're going to. I know this is big. This is we're having midlife crisis. This is all it is.
Midlife crises are okay.
So we've decided to downsize because what I pay, I almost pay $2,000 for my house note. I don't want to pay that anymore. I'm so done with paying that. I could pay that and get that. This will pay out $60,000. The one that we want is $72,000. That is gorgeous. And because if I have to have one, I want it to at least look like a house.
Right. Oh, and they are. I mean, now this day and time, they are so nice. We have a 27-foot camper, and that I use as a mobile print shop when we go do vendor events and stuff because I do T-shirts. But and that's what I tell my husband. I'm like, my daughter still lives at home right now, but I mean, she's got a great job. She working. She goes in, gets up at 4 o'clock every morning and goes to work. She makes $20 an hour. She pays her bill, takes care of her dog. So I mean, she's doing great on her own. And that's what I told him. I said, as soon as she is out of the house, like gone, I'm like, we're traveling because my husband came from a very hard lifestyle, and he has seen just about all of the U.S. I mean, except for Alaska and Hawaii. He's been, I think, out of the other 48 states, he's been to like 32 of them. So, I mean, he's been everywhere. And I've only been like from here to Colorado. That's about it, Texas and stuff like that. So I was like, that's what I told him. That's exactly what I want to do. I said, I just want to get out and travel. I want to go places. I said, I want to go see Northern California. I want to go to Oregon. Washington's not really on my to-do list, but, we got family in Colorado. Of course, we'd go back by and see them, and family or friends and stuff in Nevada. So that's exactly what I told my husband. I was like, I just want to get out and go. So when you said that, I started laughing. I was thinking, well, that's not too far fetched because that's kind of up my to-do list too.
Well, I told James, I was like, I called around and like, we're gonna stay here for another year, and that way he can get more retirement put in. And then after a year, we're just going to stay there in Gulf Shores at the RV thing. It's so nice. We went and looked at it. So we're just going to stay there. And then after a year, he's just going to retire and we're going to move into Texas. And I mean, all my family's up there. And I told James, he's going to have to get a job up there first, obviously. But we'll have his retirement to live off of. And it won't be, I won't have a house and I don't have anything. So.
Right. Yeah. My sister-in-law lives in Texas. She's in Austin. And but yeah.
Hey, can I explain something real quick about was it you or April that made the statement about my neighbor and me getting a fight with them?
Oh, it was me. Girl, don't look. Okay. So here's the thing. Between me and April, we are like super investigators. Okay, so as soon as I had your name, I was like, all right, let's see where this bitch got some damn social media stuff. I done swapped out your TikTok. I done went down the rabbit hole last night. You had me up and down. I needed damn Valium last night after I went through all them damn TikToks. Just let me say, I was like, this bitch crazy. She happy one day, she cry on the next. She happy one day, she cry on the next. I was like, oh dear Jesus, So, but yeah, I saw the neighbor from hell. I used to have a neighbor from hell, so I can kind of understand. But I'm going to go ahead and let you explain it.
Well, he is just weird altogether. He's some musician that thinks that he writes songs for all these big people, like Snoop Dogg and all that. He's crazy. So, anyway, because we live like right at the bay, there is people come and it's like a carousel type thing, but it's like a little go-kart that flies and it doesn't go above the tree line. So the people do that, and they take the video of like the bay, and they come back around and do a circle and go back around. Well, Steve, he was on our treetops. Well, he had his windows open, and all of a sudden, me and Ava hear him out there screaming and waving a gun, and he said he was going to kill the man. And I went outside, and then I realized he had a gun, and I pushed Ava back inside, and he said, I have murder insurance, and they're videotaping inside my house, and I have a right to kill him. And I said, no, they're not, Steve. He doesn't care about your flipping houses, and he's videoing the skyline as he goes around. So then the neighbors on the other side of me, it was 2 or 3 little black nurses from Thomas Hospital was going to rent it, and he was going to burn a cross in their yard if they had rented it. Like, he's crazy. So he had asked something, and we told him no, and he got mad. I don't know. He came over here and he had a gun and said that he went crazy that day. I had to call the police and get a restraining order. So since then, he has his camera with him. And Ava Grace would come in, she was still like 17 at this time, and she would come in from school and she would call me and she's like, Mom, please come out here. He's got the camera. I told him I was going to shove that camera so far up his ass.
I saw when you went outside with the dog, he kind of peeked around the corner with the camera. That's all familiar for me. When we moved this last time, it was the same thing. We had a crazy neighbor like that too, so I totally understand.
Oh yeah, I already went to court with him.
We went to court with ours too.
Because my husband and chicken put this fence up for me outside so that the days I take chemo, that I can just open the door and because I have a golden retriever, Luke.
Yeah, I saw him. He's beautiful, by the way.
Supposed to be a service dog, but I broke him, so that didn't work. But he knows when I'm having seizures, and he'll come and get on top of me and whatever. And I don't drive anymore. I haven't drove in almost a year. I don't want y'all to think that I do that. In those videos, I did drive. Ava's school was 2 minutes from the house, and she didn't have her driver's license then, and there was nobody else to pick her up. And as soon as Ava got in the car, she drove, and I got into the passenger seat. I know I drove on those, and I shouldn't have, but I had to pick her up from school. And I know I put everybody else's life at risk, and if I thought I was going to have a seizure that day, I wouldn't have even done it. And it was only a couple of days. It wasn't every single day. It was only the days that my husband couldn't get off to pick her up.
Right.
And my other daughter couldn't get her. But anyway, that day Luke was outside. Steve came out, and he was going to take the garbage can. He never pulls it down our alleyway in between the houses and puts it where he did. It's always should be on the other side, close to his kitchen in the back, not on my side. Well, Luke, he antagonizes Luke. Luke is not going to do anything to him. Luke loves everybody. So he comes, and on the other side of the camera, you don't see this, but he's jumping at Luke and trying to get Luke, and Luke goes crazy because Luke's first thing is, you're not touching my mom, And so that morning, I went out there. I had chemo. I was sick, throwing up, and Luke was barking. Steve was standing there. I was trying to get Luke in. Luke's collar broke. Luke wasn't jumping over that fence. Luke could easily do it, but he doesn't. And I was trying to get him in. I was throwing up. He's videoing the whole thing. And I said, if I had a gun, I'd blow your fucking brains out. And from that, I got arrested the next day because I said that to him. And I didn't get in trouble. It was all, he showed the video, and we ended up having to go to trial and sit there through the whole court thing to have trial at 7 o'clock at night. And they played the video, and the judge looked and said, how many videos do you have of her? I have thousands of her. And he said, you're psycho. And ordered him to leave us alone and not do anything anymore. Well, he got mad because he ended up having to pay court costs, and he had to pay everything because I was found innocent. Well, then we get a knock at the door, and he has a lawsuit against my dogs.
Okay, now that's new.
He said that he's a civil lawsuit against me and my dogs because I threatened his life. And my lawyer was like, okay, she said if she had a gun. She didn't say she did, so that meant she didn't have one. If she had one in the house, she'd say, I'm going to get that gun and blow your fucking brains out. I didn't do that.
Right.
So he said, but you saw him on the thing, come down the alleyway towards her and went to your house instead of going inside your house in the front door, but you were scared for your life. He's crazy. And he just comes out, he's an old man, and he comes out there with that video camera. He got arrested the other day. I was outside, and I had my bathing suit on and was outside with Luke doing the water hose with him. And Steve was out there. Steve opened his window and was videoing. And I said, Steve, if you video me, I'm spraying you, and I mean it. Well, he kept on, so I sprayed him. So it was through his window. But he shouldn't have been videoing me, and it made me feel uncomfortable. So I called the police, and he got arrested. And that's when he got arrested. He went in there, and they were like, she ruined my property. I'm getting her for damage and whatever. And he said, so you were standing here with a camera taking pictures and video, and she was outside in her bathing suit with a dog? Yes, I was. He said, now you're getting arrested because that was like a peeping Tom type.
Yeah. See, we the same neighbor, like our neighbor when we moved in, the one that we had trouble with. He married his girlfriend at 16, okay, and he was 36, all right, which I already had a problem with right there. But when we moved up here, my daughter was I don't know, she was 13, 14 when we lived here. But she had a friend that used to come over when they were about 15 or 16. And I mean, hell, we live in Blount County. We live in the country. And they would get out there and sunbathe together in the front yard because our fenced-in backyard, our dogs run through, and I'm like, y'all might lay in a pile of poop if you lay out there. Don't do that. So they would lay out in the front yard, and this guy would get on his lawnmower and just ride back and forth up and down the road on the lawnmower watching them. But because he wasn't taking pictures, there was nothing I could do about it.
Right. Well, they told us that if we get a privacy fence, that then it's not. So because I'm so petty, went and got, I'll send you the pictures of it, but I went and got poster board with the stakes, and on the poster boards I put coming soon, a private fence is put up, and then on every one of them I put, and I'm going to put Black Lives Matter, Mexican Lives Matter on his side of the fence, just so that he has to see that, because it's still on my property, but enough. And I called and asked the HOA, can I do that? And they were like, it's your property if you want to do that. Yeah, that was my plan.
Yeah.
But we're moving, so I'm not wasting the money to do that.
I know, right?
But if I was staying, I would, just because I'm that petty. He's made me so mad that... And James was like, Jessica, you need to leave him alone. He's going to kill you one day. And I was like, because he's that crazy. He might.
That's true. That's true. But, well, look, I'm going to go because I need to I guess probably go check on my sister. But here's what I would like to do, if you don't mind. And since you have your, issues with the church, I think you might be willing to help. If at any time...
I just don't want it to be, my husband and I would do anything to bring that church down. I just want it to be anonymous.
Okay, well, look, I have an anonymous feature in the group. You're welcome to use it at any time. I do not disclose anybody who uses the anonymous feature. I screenshot who it is, so in case it's anything legal comes about, I can say, this is who it was, and this is why. You know what I'm saying? That's to protect y'all. It's to protect you from, them trying to backlash at you, because we do have cult members in here. We just call them all cult members. We do have cult members that are in here. We try to weed them out, but sometimes they, slip through and we don't know. But if you know, since you've been at the church, that's really helpful. So I would like for us to be on a better page than we currently started on. At any time, just like if you have nothing to do, sit down, type me out a message, especially anytime you've seen that you can think of when you've seen them, like when you were talking about them taking the money out and giving it to the kids. I don't care how far back it goes, because this can go as far back as we need it to. Anything to prove that they are doing kind of embezzlement or,
when they would pay their tithes, she would hold her tithes check up in that envelope and pray blessings over it and put it down. And whenever we'd go check the tithes and take it out, there'd be no check in there.
Of course.
But it didn't matter because the money went back into their bank.
Exactly. Yeah. It wouldn't matter. Yeah.
That was the problem. That was the whole thing. The money never, we got to church one day and the things was locked. They had a foreclosure on it. Amber them couldn't get in their house or the Hadassah house.
Yeah, I remember Amber them had their house foreclosed on. Yeah.
And that's where Madison lives at now, correct?
I don't know where Madison and John live. They keep a very low profile. Okay, now we can pretty much pull up anything we want on anybody else. Madison and John keep a pretty damn good low profile. We know they do the children's church, but other than that, I know John does a lot of the, video stuff and all that kind of stuff. But they keep a really low profile. It's not like Krista that gets up there and, begs you for an hour for money. Or Amber who gets up there and tries to act like she's the teacher of the Bible college. And I'm sorry, if people are paying...
She thinks she's Kelly Copeland, is what she thinks. Amber's got her big head.
For these people that are paying for these tuitions for that church, I feel so for
Wait, there's a church, they have a tuition at the school now, at the church?
Yeah, the online Bible college.
So you have to pay for that now?
It's like $1,200.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
I've
Amber...
got the course here.
And Amber's the teacher.
Oh my God. Well, we have the course where it was all boy Robin the teacher. And I'm telling you, it's goes back to early 90s when he's got his colored outfits on and well, I've got videos of
anything like that you have that you can send. I am grateful for. Totally grateful. I really would like for you to stick around. I do. Because you're an ex-member, and ex-members are more valuable than anybody else in this group. Because when people start saying, because here's what I do. A lot of times when I hear them preach on something, like I listen to every live they do, okay? And then I will go back and I will screen record the things I'm concerned about. I will normally post them in the group, or I will send them to Annie, or whoever else. That Allie is a girl that used to go there.
Allie and Daniel.
Yeah, I talk to them a lot. I'll send it to her if I think she can give me the answers.
Allie was only there for maybe a year. Allie wasn't in close with them to know everything like we did.
Right.
They kept them at a distance because they didn't like Allie and Daniel. They thought they were crazy. That they were Daniel. It was called Prophet Dan, and
it's funny how everybody that goes there becomes a prophet. Did you know Austin's a prophet too?
Yeah. Yeah. And his drug-induced mindset when he's having his flashbacks and God forgive me. I don't mean that name. God, I'm sorry. I've got to get.
Well, I look at it this way, and I really do. I really, really look at it wholeheartedly this way. I don't see what we're doing as bad because, God says, to go against the false prophets. And he's definitely not a prophet. I mean,
no,
he's not,
No.
Now, I love church. I don't go as much as I should. I'm not going to lie. Catch my church online. But
we do a lot. We were in church.
I've I have the mouth of a sailor. My preacher knows that. I own a karaoke business as well, so I'm in bars a lot. And my pastor and his wife have showed up at my karaoke shows. And he'll be like, well, I can't get you at church, so I'm going to come see you here. I'm like, what are people going to say when they find out you were at a bar? And he tells me, it's not where you go, it's what you do when you get there that matters.
Exactly.
Right. He said, I guarantee you, he said, there are more Christians in this bar, he said, than there are Christians in my pews on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So, anytime, just if you're bored, when you're home, empty nesting, if you think of something, write it down and send it to me. You can just do it in a private message. You don't have to, post it on the line or anything unless you want to. I mean, for instance, if I post a video and you want to make a comment and you're not comfortable commenting with your name, do it anonymous. Nobody's going to know but me and April. We're the only two people that can see, even the other support crew that I have working for us. Me and April are the only two people that can see anybody who posts anonymous.
Yeah.
So, now do your daughters, do they still talk to their sister, or are they away from her too, or?
Cassidy lives in Panama City, and her and Madison are back talking to each other, and Cassidy stopped talking to me because she started talking to Madison again and going to church there. And that hurt worse than anything Madison did, because Cassidy was my person. Your kids are your kids, and
oh yeah,
there's not that you don't love your kids more than the other, but there's always that one kid that's your person. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And that's what Cassidy was. So Cassidy started talking to Madison again, and which I always wanted that. I never wanted them not to talk to each other. But then Cassidy went to church there, and they said the same for her. And so her and Ava don't talk anymore. Ava has been crushed. Not that Cassidy left. Ava went through and broke every single one of the pictures of Cassidy and Madison and threw them down and said, I don't want them in my house anymore. That's how hurt she was. She was like, sisters are supposed to be your built-in best friends, and they have fucked me over.
Right.
And that.
So now, is Cassidy living up here? Is she going to church there?
No, she lives in Panama City, and I don't know where. I think she goes every now and then. They have a plane they send to her or something. I don't know.
They have a plane, or she flies commercial?
No, they have a plane.
See,
they have.
That's something that we're trying to figure out. We know we are pretty sure they have a plane, but we can't.
Yeah, I know for a fact they have a plane.
We can't find that.
It's at the airport in Anniston.
Now, they had one small plane here back around 2019 that they sold.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's not the same one, right?
No. This one is a little bit nicer. It's kind of like the one that Kenneth Copeland basically buys because he has to be like Kenneth Copeland.
Right.
But yeah, but no, Cassidy talks through Ava. Like Cassidy will message Ava every now and then. So like Ava had to go through her 18th birthday without her sisters. Her 19th, like she had to graduation. They didn't even come to her effing graduation. Like I would not have said anything. I would have stayed on the other side, and they said no, Mom will make a scene, and I wouldn't have done that. Not on Ava's day. I would never have done that to Ava.
Right.
And so like it was hard. And so like when Kathy decided to text me, she's like, "What? I have you and Daddy here, and I have nothing else, Mom." She's like, "My life." She's like, "You know, when you're a teen, you know, she's 19, she thinks she's in love."
Oh God, I know how that goes.
Like I can't be without him, and da 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 da. And I've always wanted to be in Texas, and da da da. I cried and acted like a, oh God, it's not good. But
Now, Cassidy's the one in Texas, and Ava's the one in Panama City, right?
No,
I have it backwards.
Cassidy.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
Cassidy.
horrible with names, so.
Okay. But yeah, Ava's in Austin. I mean, not Austin, Dallas. So yeah, look, she's begged us. She's like, "Mom, please come. I don't want to like." And so she's homesick, and I thought, well, maybe if I give it a year, she'll come back.
Right.
So that's why we're like, either way, the thing that we're getting, the big camper, it's got a second bedroom in it, so it would be fine.
Right.
And like that was the purpose, you know, so that Ava could still come see me and be with me, and I could be near her. I've just never experienced like this before, like my kids being gone, and it's just, you know, it's a different experience. It's a different, yeah.
See, they bought some property up here in Trafford.
Oh yeah, where the airport was.
Yes, yeah. But you know, they own that property now.
They're trying to buy my property up there. So my house is up there. My neighbor called me and said that Zach had drove by, and that's their son, and that Madison, he saw Madison out like sitting in the yard, like, and it was robbing all them. So Tim and them were like looking over my land and my house and stuff up there. So Tim went up there, and he said, "Hey Madison, I hadn't seen you, girl," and da da da, you know. And I was talking to Robin. He said, "Here he came out, stepped out with that long trench coat and that staff," and I said, "Yep." And anyway, he said, Madison said, "I'm wanting to buy this so that I can burn it down and for the memories." Like, what the hell? There was no bad memories in that house. Like, I grew up in that house. My mom, like, died in that house. There was no, I don't know what she's told or what she thinks. And I thought, oh, if they want to buy it, let them buy it. Give me the money for it.
I know, right?
But I told James, I said, I'm going in there and getting the rest of my furniture out, and I'm setting it on fire myself. I said, I'll be damned if she burns it down. I'll burn it down. I said, I'll tell Tim, go set it on fire and burn it. I don't care.
I just, oh my God. See, we've been on the plane thing, okay? Because Kenneth Copeland, you know, that's their big buddy. You know, that's who they're friends with. And I can't remember who there was. I'm horrible with names. I need everybody online with me. I need to have a conference call with all my peoples because they can keep me straight on my names. But there was some kind of one of these ridiculous pastors that from Texas that just recently died or something, not too long ago. And we're kind of waiting to see. We were kind of waiting to see if he ended up with the plane, because one of the guys showed up here not too long ago at the church. Just, you know, flew into Birmingham. You know, hey, I ain't got nothing to do. Let me just fly into Birmingham and see how the Bullocks are doing. Surprise, surprise! Here I'm at your church, and we're kind of wondering, you know, if he is going to gift them a plane or if they're going to buy, you know, something's up with a plane. We know that, but we haven't been able to track down. We ran the FCC numbers from the plane on the tail of the plane of the one they sold, and we don't. Robin does not have license to fly. I mean, he has a license, but he does not have a license to fly and take people.
I know, he couldn't pass it. He'd been trying to pass it and couldn't do it.
Well, I guess he passed it, but he has not passed the part where you can have passengers. So we're kind of trying to stay on that, but it's hard to kind of keep up with, you know, like who owns planes and stuff. So if you ever find out anything about the plane, hello, we'd appreciate it because that's a big deal. Um, we got like
So
we have people in
let
town
me tell
every.
you the dream. This is a joke. I know that you don't like prophetic and things like that is weird, but I am very. If I dream about things, like especially if it's like 3 times in a row, then it's just I know it's something. It's just how it's always been. And I dreamed that I'd never been to Nan's house before, but this is before she had it, like before they fixed it. And I described it to a T to Vanessa, and that we all were there, and that I opened the door, and that this little boy come running towards me, maybe 2 years old, that looked just like James, and Madison come out behind him, and they were all in the back, like Nan and Vanessa was sitting on the couch, and Vanessa was trying to console Nan, and Amber, Krista, and Girl Robin was in the back, and they were screaming, "What are we gonna do now? We don't. If he's gone, what are we gonna do? Because when he's gone, that's it. There will be nothing." And like I have had that dream more than 3 times,
Right.
more than three. And for me to describe the house, like when I told Vanessa about it, and I described the house that like coming up, and she said, "Jessica, I have chills because that is Nan's house." And I've never set foot in it and never saw it ever in my life. And, I don't want death to come on nobody. Like that, I don't. When I say I don't care if they die, but like I don't wish death on anybody.
Right. And our anger gets the best of us sometimes, and but deep down we don't we want them to fall, yes. But we're more content with them than wearing orange. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and because
There just has to be justice for everything that they've done and all the families they've destroyed.
exactly, because with their death, it just comes more heartache for their grandchildren, and like we know, Krista's they wanted to, we're pretty sure they wanted John to take over the ministry, but John doesn't want it. He's too, quiet and yeah. So they're, people can't get along with Amber long enough for her to take it over.
No.
So
Me
Chris,
and Amber got into so many fights. Let me tell you,
yeah,
Amber was pregnant.
I heard that you and her got into a really bad one time.
Oh God! I told her that I was gonna beat the out of her, and I didn't. Her big head would be in that cement. Like she ran from me, and then she got in the car, and it was at John's graduation, and she made a huge scene because it was about John at the after party and not about Amber. And she was holding Mo, and I was gonna fix a plate for her because she was gonna take it to Robbie, and she said, "Don't jerk that plate from me." And I said, "You better be glad you're holding that baby." And I threw everything down and I walked out because I was trying to be the better person, and I went and got in the car. Well, they all come followed me, and Amber was like, "Jessica, stop being whatever." And I said, "Amber, I will smash your head into this car. You need to get away from me now." So she gets in her car and backs up. Girl Robin has this huge vase that was like outside on their like thing. Amber almost runs over Miss Bonnie, which is Girl Robin's mom,
Yeah.
and takes off out the road. And Girl Robin goes to the floor and said, she's like, what the hell's going on? She makes a preacher cut. Like, that's what exact words were. And I didn't find this out until like months later, maybe even a year later. Madison and Amber had gotten into it. Amber was pregnant with Mo. This was right after they came down and they had done the foreclosures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Stella Parton had come down. So she sang that morning, and then they went back to Miss Bonnie's house. I was in the hospital. And they went back to Girl Robin and them's house and ate with Stella and everybody. And so after it was over, Boy Robin drove Stella and her grandson, or whoever it was, out to the interstate for her to help her get on. So in that time period, John had a headache, and Maddie was laying on top of him, and he said, "Maddie, please get off of me." Amber got offended because she said, "You wouldn't have done that if Madison had laid on you." Him and Amber got into it, and Amber was like, "I wish that family had never come here," and like her ran her fat mouth. So Madison was trying to walk away. Amber was standing on the hill going in between Bonnie and Girl Robin's house, and she had her finger up in Madison's face, and Madison pushed her, and she fell down and said, "She tried to kill my baby." Miss Barney grabbed her by the ear and drug her into the house and said, "Enough is enough." In the meantime, Girl Robin has a stroke, and they have to call the ambulance to come and get her. Krista goes and gets in the car and won't let Amber in there and pushes her out and says, "You've done enough," and pushed her out.
Oh,
And
Lord.
Krista went. Everybody left, and it was Cassidy, John, and Madison sitting there waiting for James to get there, or waiting for Boy Robin to get there then, so that they could tell him that his wife just had a stroke and is at the hospital. So then they left her to the hospital, and it was horrible. It was a shit show.
Avery,
It was.
tell me anything that's not a shit show with them. I mean, in reality, you know. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, when I found out, like I told Amber said they had a secret meeting with James and Madison and them after all that, and said not to tell me because they knew that I would go crazy and beat the out of Amber, and so they didn't tell me until it was like probably a year, and James was like out of town on vacation on something, and it was just me and the girls, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and girl talk, and they told me everything. So of course I knew it. Okay.
Right?
So, like, she had slapped Madison. Like, it was big. That's why Madison, like, pushed her back. And, it was just an instinct thing, when you slap somebody. And she slapped John, too, and laid a huge handprint on John's face. She's like, "I just don't want no bad thing to come on my baby, and it hurt my baby now," is what she was saying. She's crazy. She's crazy. She needs to have.
Hell, pretty much
If I,
most all of them are at this point. I mean, I just, we just only thing the best thing that we can do at this point is what we try to do is anytime we have anybody that can give us information like the stories you've told me, most of them I've heard. There's been a couple that I haven't. Didn't know anything about them sending a plane to get your daughter or anything like that, and it's all helpful. If you ever can find out, which I don't know because you probably really don't have an inside track now, but if you ever think of anybody, we need to find out whose name that plane's under, because it's not under Robbins. We've already checked that. He has no plane listed under him. Youth Force, Church International.
Name, John's name.
We checked all the family. We checked. We can't find a plane listed under anybody. That so especially if they are sitting in a plane, that's gold information right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, can I ask you a question real quick? When
You
we
sure
were first
can.
talking, and you were talking about the homeschool, what was that about? Like, what was said?
Because okay, so like about the homeschool, what I was told was that when the kids came to church there, that they, I don't want to say this, I don't know how to say this without being rude, so don't be offended by what I'm fixing to say, but basically the girls were dumber than a box of rocks. I was told they didn't know how to write, they didn't know how to do this, I was told that y'all's water had been cut off, you got caught stealing water, like all kinds of stuff. I mean, and and I don't know that that's truth, but I did hear it from a couple of different people. So, but I didn't put all that out there. That's why I just said I knew you ran off. You see what I'm saying? And, and I don't know about the girls being in,
No, that is not true. Ava Grayson she started at Fairhope in the 10th grade, never in her life been in high school ever, and she started and worked through it. If she didn't know how to read or write or do any of that, then she wouldn't have been in high. I mean, this is so stupid. Okay.
like what I was told was that
Madison is the only one that I had trouble with in school.
I started to say I don't remember which girl it was, but I was told that one of the girls wouldn't do her work and threw her book across the room, and then was just writing down the answers from the back of the book, and so that y'all just turned that in, and that's how she was passing.
Yeah, that's what she was doing.
Yeah.
I couldn't get her to do the work, and I didn't want to get put in jail. And what was I supposed to do?
Right.
So,
hey, I'm not playing any blame there, okay? Because I got a 20-year-old. I homeschooled that little heifer one time, okay? I was like, y'all ass going back to school because we gonna kill each other if we have to go through another year.
Oh, it was horrible. Like, Ava was different. Ava and Cassie were different. But, like, they had online school whenever we moved down here that they done in the academy. And up there, they were enlisted in, under the cover church of that, the one that's there in Gardendale across from Captain D.
The one that Krista went through, Homeland.
Yes,
Yeah.
Homeland. Yes.
Well, they're in Summerton now, and they're under a new name.
Yeah.
Because that's actually that's the same place we used. My daughter got kicked out of private school. Yeah. So
No.
don't feel lonely when you're talking about the kids, okay? my daughter got kicked out of a Christian private school, so we had to homeschool her 11th grade year, and then she went back to public school and finished out her 12th grade year, where she originally started school, which was in Hayden.
I can't believe, why would anybody say that my kids couldn't read or write? Like, that's the most stupidest, And if that were true, I mean, don't you think I would have got put in jail? I mean, the kids would have, you have to go and take a test every year at the thing to make sure you pass it, that you're doing what you're supposed to do, especially when you're in elementary. So, like, really.
Well, that's what I said. I didn't give it a lot of, leeway, because, you never know when stuff like that's true, or that's just people talking, you know what I mean?
And our water did get cut off at one time, but this is what happened. We, and I was never stealing water. It was nothing like that. So, our house up there was still in my dad's name. So, when my dad died, the way it happened is he deeded it to me, and it's was it called Homestead or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Whenever we had well water,
Yeah.
whenever they put the city water in, then they came out and cut my water off. And they said it was going to be like $62,000. And they said from 1991 till whenever that 2018 that we had not paid. And like I had every receipt show that we like my mom paid it. Like that's stupid. Like they come every month. And so anyway, I don't know. They said that my dad tapped into somehow when they were putting the city water in, that he tapped into that and he wasn't supposed to. I don't know. It was some big whole thing.
Right.
They had to come and change the whole water thing, and they dug and put a new. But like I was a kid, I don't know what my daddy did.
Right.
I mean, whatever. I was a kid. I didn't know anything about it. But years later, I'm the one that got when they come in, and what happened is they put new drain things in. So when they done it, they said that one wasn't serviced the way it was supposed to. I don't know. Just something came around. So then they come around and said that I owed all that money, and I had to go down to the courthouse and get everything straightened out. And like it was big. It was a huge thing.
Look, I know
But
that.
stealing water, I don't know what that. Birmingham said we stole water. But how do you from 1991? Like I had paid the water bill. Like honestly, you're not going to pay a water bill from 1991 till 2018 and then not know it.
Right.
Now, how stupid is that? Okay.
And let me tell you,
This
look,
is Birmingham Water Works that comes out. If you don't pay it the next day, they come and cut your water off.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Look, I was from the time I was 12. From the time I was about 12, I don't know to how old I got. But anyways, my sister, when she moved up here, she had a outstanding power bill in her name. So my mom let her put her light bill in my name. I was 12 years old. I lived at home. Okay. So my sister ran off, didn't pay the light bill. She says her version is she told them to cut it off, and they never did cut off for like 4 months, and it was like a $1,500 light bill. Okay.
God.
So when I graduated high school, and me and my husband moved in together before we got married, and we went to have power turn on, they're like, you owe like $2,000 in offer. I'm like, I'm 18. How the hell do I owe a $2,000 light bill from 8 years ago? And that girl, it was a hot mess. I mean, I had to go through like all kinds of stuff to prove that it wasn't me, and I was still living at home, and
it was big. I can imagine.
We finally got it straightened out, but I told my mom, I was like, why'd you do that?
Well, everything was getting straightened out before we moved. It was a debacle. So like about a week and a half we didn't have water, but it wasn't. There was no any other reason but from that. It was a huge thing, and these are the most stupidest stories that have been twisted that makes no sense.
And
that
see,
are,
that's exactly what I was talking about. It's stories like this that get twisted, that you wonder, well, is that really true? Did that really happen? But all the stories that we hear about CI and the cult and all that kind of stuff, they stay pretty much true. So you know there's got to be truth to them. You know? I mean, like, you're
well, I'm an open book, and you guys can ask me anything.
I am
and
as
I'm
well.
Not, I mean, so that's, I'm not going to lie about anything. My only goal is because I want Madison away from them.
Well, let me tell you something, and I can't tell you, I can't tell you to not tell anybody but I can ask you, please let this stay between us, okay? We've been looking for a weak link with the kids, Can we get through to anybody? We know we can't get through to Krista. Austin's been cut off from everybody. He doesn't even have a cell phone anymore, okay?
Oh, God.
Yeah, so Austin's been completely cut off from everybody. We know we can't get through to Krista. Amber's too money hungry. Robbie's right there with her. So our weakest link, we were betting, was going to be John, or Madison. But we didn't know how deep Madison was, how important the money was to Madison.
Money's very important to Madison.
So
that's Madison's name. Like, when I tell you her life, to be able to sit and live the luxury that she does, that was her goal.
Right.
When she started dating John, they threw money at her. They took her to Buckle. That's what she saw. And so she knew she was going to be taken care of and live a life that she wanted.
Right.
So I gave her everything. We went shopping. Like, I didn't have a house net when we lived up there. So James's whole check was clear. So if I wasn't paying the water bill, what was I paying? I mean,
Right.
And like, I would take her every 2 weeks. We would go to Ross's or JCPenney's. They never would the same thing twice. But I was a horrible mom. So.
Yeah. So I mean, we were kind of hoping that maybe John would be our weaker link, because we know he's kind of the stay out of the limelight. Stay away.
John would be a weaker link, but I'm telling you, he's just like his dad. He's stubborn, and he can be mean. Like, he can turn on you in a heart.
Right.
So
well, hell, that's all of them, though. I mean, and we're doing it the legal way. We turn everything we come up with over to the FBI. We've turned everything we've come up over to the IRS multiple times, including including when they built their new church up here, or renovated it for the new church. The people that did the construction work on it was the building inspector for Warrior. He has a construction crew too. He did the work. He had his crew did the work, and then he approved it. You're talking about ethics violations.
Yeah.
It's the kind of stuff like that we've turned in. We turn in every single thing we can. And while it's not, and we knew this in the beginning, these are not the kind of people you're going to take down in a month. They've been here my entire life. They just didn't have money until about 2019. So it's going to take time. But, like, it's funny because when they do things or they say things in their services, Amber's fabulous to fuck with, okay? Because if I post something about Amber, she gets mad, okay? I mean, her temper, she gets mad, like big mad. Krista, since she's on stage so much and preaches for an hour, I normally have a lot of, content to pull off YouTube and screen record and then repost in the group. We call her Buttercup, by the way. And she gets big mad too. It's gotten to where she has started, lashing out, because of some of the things we said and stuff like that.
I've got threats. Don't talk about my family anymore.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's so funny that you should say that, because that was their big thing. Mama Robin was preaching yesterday, and she was talking about, don't get on social media and don't let them gaslight you and blah 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 blah, and okay. A couple of months ago, they did something. They had some kind of event, and they were all laying in the floor like they were tired. But Krista's hand was flipping a bird, And I screenshotted that and then circled it, you know, and I was like, oh yeah, this is really how a Christian organization should act. They took the picture down. So it's all the little shit that we do that fucking pisses them off, you know. And if I can find an inch, I'm going to make a mile out of it, you know. I'll see if I can find that picture, and if I can, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Well, no, I would prefer to be completely anonymous, but, you know, any information that you guys have or whatever, I would appreciate, like, especially if it's, you know, the
Well,
guys
if we
starting
find
to-
out, if we find out anything, you know, especially pertaining to Madison, you know, I have no.
Let me say this real quick. So, I don't know if you know about this or anything. Madison, they would throw up something about text messages that they had that they could post and share that I sent. Well, those text messages that she had was the phone that I was using when my phone was messed up. And so she and Robin sorted with those text messages. It wasn't even my phone. So Madison said, no, Mom was using my phone and wrote all this to Robin. And they went back and forth with each other and converted these text messages so that they could show to see that I sent stuff like that, saying that me and James were divorced and that we were breaking. Like, it was big. And that none of that ever happened. Did you know about that?
No, I did not know about that, but that does not surprise me.
They took and screenshotted it and saved it, and she has it in a file in a folder. And I didn't even write any of it. None of it.
You know, that's why I caution everybody in the group, hey, watch what you say, you know.
And I paid for half of that flipping wedding, and we were told that if we went that we would escort it out. I did not want Madison's day to be ruined, and that's why we decided not to go.
Right.
Because if Jeremy and Robbie, I call Robbie group, and if his buddy come over there, his ass would have been in his mouth because it wouldn't have done. And especially Taco, I would have done the same thing to his ass.
Right.
We call Robbie group from, like, just because I'm sorry, I know he's your cousin or whatever. I'm sorry. But
Hey.
we call Jeremy Taco.
Look, the only ones that I've ever really been close to, you know, in the family, really in seriousness, is Liz and Annie and Mama Marsh. You know, I mean, those were my three. That's about the extent of it for me. You know, like I said, they're like, God, I don't know, fourth or fifth cousins on my dad's side or some shit like that. I don't know. And
Well, I know they hurt Annie really, really bad when Annie got pregnant. They sat her down and told her that she couldn't minister for like a year or something like that. It was something like that.
yeah,
And yeah, it was ridiculous.
yeah, like, what do you mean it's offline? It was not offline. Sorry, I'm trying to, oh, I guess it is offline. You know, normally when you're printing something, it helps if you plug the right printer in to the computer. I'm shipping out packages for shirt printing while we're talking. So that's why you hear all the tick, 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 tick.
No, it's okay.
And I haven't plugged in my, oh, good grief.
Will you ask April if she calls me so that I can have conversation with her?
Oh, I will.
Everything that was about that time. I just wanted to, I just don't know ever, and I don't want to come up with straw like that. And I know that my husband got into it because he was protecting me. Like, he saw me and I was like crying at that. His first party is protecting me and that. And your husband would have done the same thing.
Well, my husband, no, because my husband knows I handle my own shit. I don't care. If you make me cry, that shit's on, buddy.
Yeah.
You know,
I live 4 hours away, so it's kind of like, you know.
right.
But, you know, it was just in heat of the moment, and I apologize for that. That wasn't mine. It's just a lot of hurt and a lot of, it all comes out of my
I know in my little support group of people that I have helping me run the good grief, I want this plug in. That I have helping me run the page, because that's a lot of work running that page. But my little group of people that I have helping me run that, you know, I was like, white trash. White trash. I said, she could have said redneck or anything else, and she would have been
I'm
point
sorry.
on, okay? I was like, oh hell no, we ain't going white trash, but it's okay. It is
I
perfectly fine.
apologize.
You know.
It was just my anger. It was
Well,
just,
I do
and
apologize for
honestly,
throwing your business
not
out there.
It was my anger's towards them. Is all it is. You just were the person that I'm thinking of.
Hey, I'm often the target of it, so I completely understand. I really do. I understand. You know, but especially in this group, April's always going to come to my rescue. Quentin's going to come to my rescue. If Allie's on, Allie's going to come to the rescue. I mean, you know,
Well, I was surprised that Allie didn't make any comments.
she probably hasn't seen it. She is doing another class in at school.
Yeah.
She graduated and then went back to do something else. Now went back and she's doing another class. So she's like, I think she's in school, and April's in school right now. She does night classes too. So, you know, everybody's in school but me. I'm just working from home over here.
Well, I'm glad that we got everything straight.
I am too, and it was very nice to talk to you. I mean, it really was.
I mean, at least I got things cleared up, because that's the one thing so many people think things with me and James, but I know that I left in a hurry, but I was having a nervous breakdown, and they all would have been dead. I would have been in jail, or I wouldn't have cared.
Right.
And that you get to that point, I had to leave. And I couldn't see Madison at the grocery store and know that I'm not a part of her life anymore. That would have drove me crazy. So, you know, when this opportunity for him to take the director's job down here came up, we did it.
Yeah. So, okay, well, look, I'm going to get off here. I need to call the hospital and check on my sister and see what's going on with her, if they're going to let her come home or what. So, but I really appreciate you letting me call and, you know, talk to you. And, you know, if y'all want to stick around in the group, that's fine. You know, but I'm telling you, just a fair warning. If you take and I know that's your daughter hooked up with them, but anytime you take any side with anything the Bullocks say, there's going to be a whole bunch of people be like, oh, screw you, you must be a part of them, and blah, blah, blah. And, oh, your daughter's married to him. Well, you're one of them. It happens, you know. We try to rein it in sometimes, but as you can see, sometimes it just gets out of hand.
Yeah. Well, what hurt my feelings, I know that I shouldn't have called her white trash, but what might hurt my feelings is, like, I think about that every day if she has a baby, and I'm not going to be a part of that. Like, y'all have to shove that in my throat. Like, that's what upset me.
Yeah, and honey, that's the whole reason I started this group, was because Mama Marsh did not get to see the babies before she died.
I know.
I mean, you know, I knew she never got to see them, you know.
I don't think she ever met them.
You know, and I don't think she did either. And that's what me and Annie and Liz always talked about. I was like, you know, she would, you know, it broke my heart because she would buy birthday presents for them and send. Yeah. She would send Christmas gifts.
Like, I watched her throw them in the garbage.
Oh, yeah. We knew they were.
Amber's nasty. Do you know how nasty she is? Just let me do this. Cassie would go over there and spend the night and clean the house up because it was nasty. They would take the diapers and throw them behind the couch. There was a mound of dirty diapers behind the couch. Dog crap in the floor, and Peyton laying in it, playing it all in her hair. Cassidy cleaned it up. And Connie, which was the armor bearer for Girl Robin, was going at a cleaning service and once a month. And she said she had to charge Girl Robin double for Amber's house because it was so bad. It only got cleaned whenever Connie would come in there. There would be no dishes. The dishes would be piled up in the sink, like disgusting. Like Cassie said one time she went over there and she went to go to the bathroom, and Maddie Marshall took a pad and shoved it on the wall, like a bloody pad, and shoved it there. And like, that's how disgusting they are. Like, she started her period, and they went to the pumpkin patch. She put a pad on that morning, and it was not at youth force, and she had not changed it. And we were practicing. James and I were over the dramas, and they were practicing. And he said, "What smells like fish tacos?" to everybody. Okay. And then Krista had to pull Maddie into the bathroom and explain to her, "You have to change that," and made her go and, like, give her a tampon or whatever and show her what to do. Yeah. That's how disgusting they are. But I don't teach my kids anything. My kids are dumb as rocks. You know.
But, so, all right, girl. Well, look, take it easy. I'm going to get off here. I think my phone's about to die.
Okay, well, just, you know, ask April if she'll call me.
Oh, well, I've got your number. I'll give it to her. You know, and I'll just tell her to message you before she calls, you know, just to make sure you're available and everything. Okay. Well, it was very nice to talk to you.
It was nice to talk to you too.
Okay. And
I hope your sister's okay.
yeah, I think she is. I didn't talk to her, so they were just going to send her down for tests. So, but it's the hospital. It's going to be a while.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right, girl.
Well,
Behave yourself.
I will. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye bye.